Warmly welcoming you to How Does She Do It, the podcast, with me, your host, Jo Ferroni. Join me on my journey as I explore finding a gentle balance in both business and life, because being kind to ourselves is our superpower. Anyone who wants to grow as a person to become the best and happiest version of themselves needs to push out of their comfort zone at least once or twice in their lives. That's what I believe, and I really look forward to bringing to you an episode today all around stepping out of your comfort zone. Before we get started, I just wanted to say hello and I hope you're good. But first, just wanted to share a few things that have been going on here. First of all, I have got to thank you all so much for the support and the encouragement and the reviews that you have been leaving me since this podcast launched in the middle of March. It has been quite overwhelming, if I'm honest, and it has highlighted to me once again that though I like to put myself out there and I like to be able to share with you all and to share with my community, I'm not a natural extrovert. It doesn't come as naturally as some people might think, and actually to have had the response that I did with all of the gushing reviews and comments and feedback, it took me quite a while to really let that sink in and be able to process it, if I'm honest. It really has blown me away, and I feel so blessed that anyone even chose to listen, but even more so that I've been able to relate to you, or you've been able to relate to me. And I just thank you all for taking the time to let me know when something has resonated with you, perhaps when you have decided to take one of my ideas and run with it. I am always so happy to hear from you. So thank you so much. And please do continue to keep in contact with me, because it's very different, actually, recording a podcast. I speak in front of rooms full of women, virtual rooms at the moment, a lot of the time. And you wouldn't believe how reassuring a head nod or a smile to just communicate to me that what I have said has made sense or been relatable for you. That can really make a big difference. And of course, when I'm sat here in my office, I don't get that. So I'm saying things and just hoping that it will reach that right person that needs to hear it at that time. But I'm putting a lot of trust in things, I guess. So any feedback, you wouldn't believe what a difference it makes. So please keep it coming, and constructive as well. If I can be doing anything differently, if you want to hear me share on a particular topic, or if you've got something that you want to discuss on the podcast with me, do get in touch. It would be really lovely to hear from you. So now I am fully recharged and have got the business back up and running, having taken quite a pause during the pandemic time when my children were working on their schoolwork at home and what have you. And I do feel so privileged to be able to be working with you guys again. I've had some amazing one-to-one clients, and I've also recently started the latest mastermind program as well, where we have 6 incredible women, and we're only one session in, but the support and the connection and the goals and the inspiration is just off the scale. It's absolutely brilliant. And as with my one-to-one clients, I just love being able to be a part of you and your business, and to be able to work alongside you to help you grow, help you build things, maybe help you change direction. We even have someone in the current mastermind who is just on the cusp of launching her own business. And that to me is super special, because she is being so brave to put herself out there and to surround herself with other women who've been doing it for a long time. Or some have been doing it for longer than others, of course. There's no There's no set amount of time you need to be running a business before you join the mastermind, and that's the beauty of it. So we've got people that are there who are a few months into their business, people a few years into their business, and then we've got someone who is brand new. The business has not even launched yet. And I just absolutely love it and feel incredibly honoured that all of my clients choose to come to me to go on a journey together. So it's all happening and it's really, really lovely. I'm really enjoying the connection again. And we've recently had a wonderful networking event. We're still online, but it doesn't make the connection and support any less relevant or any less powerful, if I'm honest. Yes, it will be wonderful to get together in person again, but for now, it is a really beautiful lifeline for people to get support and to be able to share their business and to be able to support other people in their businesses whilst we're still working online. So that was a bit of a long intro, but let's get into today's episode, stepping out of your comfort zone. Henry Ford said, "If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got." Michelle Obama said, "Just try new things. Don't be afraid. Step out of your comfort zones and soar, all right?" Powerful and almost quite simple quotes there from Henry Ford and Michelle Obama. And I really, really believe in both of them. In fact, the Henry Ford quote I heard on the radio a few years ago and had to pull over in the car because I needed to write it down. I'd never heard it before. And it just spoke so much to me. And I really have carried that with me in my work life and my personal life ever since. So let's get started. I think that stepping out of your comfort zone can come in many different forms. So first of all, I wanted to talk to you about the bigger things, okay? The things that are planned for. So I wanted to use an example today, which isn't actually to do with business, but it was a big thing that I wanted to do back in my school days, and it was something that I couldn't just click my fingers and do. So I wanted to use the example that if, whilst I was at primary school, someone had asked me to perform in a concert, I couldn't and wouldn't have just done that without some gradual steps towards it. So here's a little timeline of how I did get to that point where I was performing in concerts. First of all, I had to learn how to play a musical instrument. So, number one, I had to learn the recorder. Secondly, I had to start playing the recorder at the back of the assembly hall when we had hymn practice at our daily assemblies. Next, I took up learning the flute. So that obviously took time as well. And it wasn't until I had been playing the flute for a little while that I was then able to join the school orchestra. Getting used to playing in the orchestra was the next challenge. And next, I got to the point where I played a concert with the orchestra. And of course, eventually, and this was a little while later, probably actually when I got to secondary school, I got to the point where I did perform in a concert. And I performed in concerts in the evenings and in assemblies as well. So that was stepping out of my comfort zone in a variety of ways, but leading up to one really big step. But I took it gradually. Okay. Now, there are many ways that we can relate that to business, and that can be about making big changes in our businesses or suddenly deciding to push the goals money-wise, or getting better at selling to our clients and bringing in new clients. There are lots of ways that we can make big steps out of our comfort zone, but I really implore that you do it gently and in small incremental steps. It will take a little bit of time, but you'll be building a really solid grounding as you do it. Now, just going back to that example I used of how I got from not doing any kind of performance to performing in concerts, I just want to let you know it wasn't easy. Even though it was broken down into small steps, it was not easy. It took courage. It took belief in myself. And there was a lot of nervous energy around all of those areas, if I'm honest. And I remember how it felt just to be stood at the back of the assembly hall with the other recorder players playing along to the hymns. Everyone else seemed to know what they were doing. They were all so confident. They all knew each other. But little old me had only just joined the group and it felt incredibly scary. But what we will learn as we go through this podcast is that these things can be scary, but they are worth doing. So the examples I gave you there were about building up gradually to a big step out of our comfort zone. But there is another type of stepping out of the comfort zone which I think is worth mentioning, and that is a more spontaneous and on-the-spot decision. Now, there is lots that I want to share on this topic, and what I mean is things like deciding to speak up in a meeting where perhaps normally you would hesitate or you would decide against doing it, or making a phone call that perhaps just seems a bit scary and you have to just make yourself do it to get to the other side, because a lot does wait for you on the other side of stepping out of your comfort zone. Now, I've actually got an entire episode that I would like to dedicate to the more spontaneous, on-the-spot stepping out of our comfort zone decisions. And I have recently invited someone to come and be interviewed on the topic because they are someone that I feel has learnt and employed some incredible tactics, for want of a better word, in making decisions and really pushing themselves to step out of their comfort zone and keep on growing with every decision that they make. So I'm going to save that for you for another day, and I think that it will come very soon. So look out for that episode. Now, here I am telling you you've got to step out of your comfort zone, and it's something that will have great things on the other side of it. But let's be honest, many of us will want to avoid stepping out of our comfort zone. And I really understand that because I have absolutely avoided doing it. Don't think that because I'm talking on this topic that I have a 100% success rate in stepping out of my comfort zone. There are many things, including pressing record on this podcast, that I struggle with. It's not easy. And there are many internal messages actually that I think that we hear in our heads that will have an impact on whether we do take that step. So, why do we avoid stepping out of our comfort zone? I've picked just 3 here today for you, which I am pretty certain will resonate across areas of your business and your life, actually. The first one is fear. It is scary to do something new, to do something that is putting pressure on yourself. But how long does fear actually last? If you sit with it, it doesn't necessarily last for days at a time. It is a momentary thing, so worth pushing through. We might fail. And what happens when we fail? It isn't the end of the world, actually. The world doesn't stop turning. But guess what? We learn from it. We learn from our mistakes. We learn from our failings. And any of you who have got children will either give this message to your kids yourself or hear it coming from the schools that we have to try things and fail because that's the only way that we learn. There's an Edison quote, which I'm sure you'll have heard. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Oh my gosh. He would have constantly been pushing pushing, stepping out of his comfort zone, but he kept on going. And I think that is a really important message here today. People might judge me. How does that feel? Does that sound relatable to you? Do you sometimes pause or hesitate on doing something, particularly something new, because you're worried about what other people might think? Well, it's certainly something that I have worked so hard to overcome in the last few years, because judgment from others has definitely been something that got in my way. It's a biggie, but one person, a very wise person, said these words to me about 5 years ago now, when I was struggling with what people thought of me. And those words were, "It is none of your business what anyone else thinks of you." Okay, it is none of your business what anyone else thinks of you. In the nicest possible way, it's absolutely right. This was profound for me. Whether someone else thinks that I'm amazing or thinks I'm no good doesn't impact me. It's what I believe in myself, about myself and of myself, that is the important thing. And if you believe in yourself and you back whatever decision you're about to make or whatever step you're about to take, then you are standing in your power. And that is a very, very powerful place to be. Remember that it's their story if someone wants to judge you. And actually, you just need to be simply content and proud of yourself that you followed through and done something. Whether you've done it perfectly or not is irregardless, actually. It's about the fact that you've done it. You are training your brain to push and to do new things, and that is how you grow. You don't need to base your success or feeling of achievement on the judgment and approval of others. It's just yourself, okay? It was such a revelation when I was told that brilliant, brilliant set of words. I'd love to know if you do something that I realised I've been doing for quite some time, and that's typecasting yourself. I mean, this is the wording that I'm using, but try not to typecast yourself. For example, my story, if you like, was I'm the quiet one. I couldn't possibly speak up. And that comes from my childhood. I was the more sensible, quiet sister. My gorgeous sister was the entertainer, the cute one, the one who put herself out there because she wasn't afraid to perform. And I remember I used to look up at her and just wish that I could have even an ounce of her confidence and ability to share with others like she did. So it might take a little bit of time to really work on changing your story. Work with mantras such as, I can do it. I believe in me. And more importantly, if it doesn't go perfectly when you have braved stepping out of your comfort zone, just stay the course and do it again. Don't judge yourself based on that last thing that didn't go so well. Just start with a clean slate. Just do it again. Do it again. No one is criticizing you. Just be kind to yourself. So here I am telling you to step out of your comfort zone and wonderful things are going to come from it. But how does it actually feel when you do step out of your comfort zone? I've got some news for you, and you might not like what I'm going to say, but I don't want it to prevent you from making strides in the right direction. It's not going to feel easy. It's unlikely to feel natural, and I can sure as hell assure you that you are not going to feel like it in the moment. You'll want to do any other thing that means that you could avoid stepping out of your comfort zone. It's going to give you clammy hands. If it doesn't give you clammy hands, your heart's going to start beating pretty fast. It's probably going to scare you. And you will want to run and hide at least once when you are trying something new, but stay the course. An interesting fact, which I learned a few years ago from a book I was reading actually, was the fact that fear and excitement actually equal the same physical state. So if you imagine when you're building up to something and your heart is pumping and you're getting a bit warm and a bit sweaty maybe, actually you can tell your mind, tell your brain that you're excited for this thing. And the brain is not going to question that, because if you are really excited about something, you're going to get those same symptoms. So turn it around. Tell yourself, I'm so excited. I am so excited. And just go with it, even though you're probably feeling a little bit nervous and a little bit anxious about doing it. But there are good things on the other side. And I am going to tell you some of the wonderful things that you have to look forward to if you decide to go on this little journey of just taking new steps in amazing directions. So I wanted to share with you a few examples of small ways to start stepping out of your comfort zone, because as I said, these things do take a little bit of time to build up to sometimes. And you might think, well, how am I going to start strengthening that muscle, if you like? So I wanted to just give you a few things that you might want to try working on in various areas of your life. Try speaking up in a meeting where you would usually have an idea and feel the desire to share it, but that thing kicks in where you just think, oh, they won't want to hear from me, or what are they going to think about it? Going back to those fear and judgment stories I was talking about just now, give it a go. Accept a compliment. Now, this is something that I come up against with people in the community quite a lot, actually, where I love to give compliments. I think you all deserve compliments, but some of us, and I say of us because I could not accept a compliment up until a few years ago. Some of us find it really difficult to accept one. So try, instead of, oh gosh, this old top, when someone compliments what you're wearing, to say a simple, thank you so much. Okay, that is a change for some people, because a lot of people would almost sort of brush away a compliment because they don't really feel comfortable in accepting it. But just to accept with a simple thank you can become quite liberating, actually. And someone once said to me that if we do brush away people's compliments, actually, that's being a little bit disrespectful to the person who has chosen to give you that compliment. So rather than worrying about what you feel like and how it affects you, think about the other person. You don't want them to feel like their compliment has been rejected. So just accept it graciously. You don't have to be gushing, just with a thank you. And I think that this will be a step out of someone's comfort zone. So I hope that helps. Now, I'm not saying that the things that I have talked about today and suggested that you perhaps start to try are going to come easily. And I want to assure you that I have faced so many struggles in my life, not just as an adult, but as a child and as a teenager too. But I actually feel that there is enough to share and to talk around with you about struggles and overcoming them, that I'm going to do a separate episode on those. So if you find yourself paralyzed with fear, that stepping out of your comfort zone in any way is just not possible right now, please don't feel helpless or hopeless. Please know that it will take time and it will take some tricky situations to break through to get to the point where you start stepping out of your comfort zone, and that's okay. So please do look out for the future episode where I'm going to share some really personal and deep struggles that I faced with all sorts of areas of my life in the past. I really hope that that will be of benefit to some of you. So we've talked about how uncomfortable and scary it can feel before we step out of our comfort zone. But I feel it's really important for me now to share some of the beautiful things that come just seconds after you take that step out of your comfort zone. Okay. And the brilliant thing is, the good things don't only last a few seconds, and I will move on to how the gift that you give yourself by stepping out of your comfort zone can continue to be given for a long time after you have made that move. So how can it feel? And this might sound weird for you to hear, because you might be shaking before you do the thing, and really, really scared. But it's the difference between stepping out your comfort zone and during it, let alone after it. It's just so different. I can't even describe. So how does it feel for me when I step out of my comfort zone? It feels exciting. I feel true pride. I feel accomplished. I feel brave and strong and jubilant. And the overriding feeling is that belief that anything is possible. And I do think that the more that we push ourselves gently and with kindness to try new things, to step into an area where we feel a little bit uncomfortable and it feels a bit unfamiliar, the more we do this, the more we are going to strengthen ourselves. And actually, those steps that we make are going to expand our comfort zone again and again and again. And actually, I got to the point where having had panic attacks and anxiety issues before stepping out of my comfort zone, which froze me and meant that I didn't do so, I've gone from that to the point where I almost think that stepping out of my comfort zone now has become a hobby, something I want the opportunity to do as much as I possibly can, because I love challenging myself in that way. And I don't doubt that if I can get to this point, all of you can as well. So trust me on that. So we're almost ready to draw to a close now, but I've got 2 extra brilliant things that I want to share, and they are the ripple effect and the icing on the cake. So the ripple effect, I just wanted to talk around the fact that when you're doing these things and when you're pushing yourself, you are unwittingly having an effect on others around you. Okay, so you are going to be showing up for yourself, but other people are going to be witnessing this as well, whether that's your friends, whether it's your colleagues, your family, any children in your life. If they see you going for something, with or without success, I have to add, that will inspire them to try something new or big for them as well. So never underestimate the power of positivity that you can share on those onlookers, if you like, who are around you. And I have many examples if I think back to things that I have done and shared very openly with my children. They have witnessed me pushing into a space where I've never been before. And so I don't know whether it's going to go well or whether it's going to go badly. But I'm very happy to share with them that I'm trying it, and then they get to see the results afterwards, whether it's gone wrong and I've learnt from it, or whether I have succeeded and I'm on cloud 9. And I think that that is a very healthy way to share with people in your life, actually. You know, we don't need to do everything perfectly, so we don't need to wait until we've had success to share that we've done something. We can just share that journey with people. Icing on the cake. Okay, I probably could have come up with a better way of describing it. And actually, it's not just a little bit of icing on the cake. There is tons of icing on this cake, okay? So you do something, you're terrified before it, you're proud of yourself that you've done it, guess what? There's more great stuff to follow. By pushing yourself to go to that conference, you aren't just going to learn from the inspiring speakers there. Guess what? You're going to have opportunities to go and speak to people, the other delegates. You're going to meet new people, open new doors, maybe begin a whole new exciting adventure, in addition to the accomplishment that you're already feeling just by going to the conference. And I have lots of examples of me taking myself to places where I knew nobody and met incredible people. In fact, some of you listening on the podcast are people that I have met when I have taken myself into a room of 200 women and just got talking to people. Scary as anything, but accomplished and enjoyable and so fun. You might uncover a talent you never actually knew you had. You're definitely going to inspire others. And guess what? Once we change our mindset and start to really believe in ourselves, other things will also start shifting in our lives as well. Okay, your thinking and your dreams are going to become bigger because you know that anything is possible. You might create new hobbies, gain new skills, start a new business. Your confidence is going to increase. And once you've stepped out once, like I said from my own experience, you are going to want to do it again and with something else. So you realise that anything really is possible, both in work and in life in general. And I just think that we never stop growing. So let's just enjoy every step. However scary it might seem, take the step. I've got faith in you, and I hope that you've got faith in yourself as well, or at least can begin on a path of finding that faith in yourself and really believing that you can do it. So I'm going to close now with a quote from Einstein, no less. Insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So ladies, the closing words I want to share with you today are to do something new, try something out. Don't be afraid. Don't worry about what others are thinking. And please, please believe in yourself, because you are amazing and we only get one shot at this life. So do the thing that you've been holding back on, because you never know how amazing you're going to feel afterwards and what else is going to come from taking that step. I really hope that what we've talked about today has been useful and maybe planted a seed of thought in you as well. If you have heard today and think that you're going to take some steps out of your comfort zone, then I would love you to share with me what you're planning to do. Write it down, share it with me over at Instagram at How Does She Do It Life. I would love to know how you feel before and then what happens afterwards as well. But equally, if you're in a position where you've been listening and thought, it all sounds great, Jo, but I just don't know where to start, then consider dropping me a line. Perhaps we should be working together. I would love to support you on your journey as you grow your comfort zone and keep stepping out and making brilliant changes in both your life and your business. It would be wonderful to hear from you. Another way you might like to connect with me is to come along to one of our networking events, and I invite you to check out the next one. You can book your spot now. It's happening on Wednesday, the 9th of June. We meet from 10 until 12, and it's a really friendly, warmly welcoming event where I look after you all, whether you're new or whether you've been coming for months already. And it will be a great opportunity for you to learn from others, to share anything you want to share, and also for us to get a chance to learn more about you and your business too. I wish you a wonderful couple of weeks, and I thank you again for all of your support. The reviews have been amazing, and I just am so grateful that you have taken the time to listen. And if you're listening to this episode after June 2021, then do check in the show notes where you'll see all the links to look up the upcoming events that are happening right now when you're listening, and also ways to contact me and ways to work with me as well. It would be wonderful to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, I'd love you to take a moment to share and subscribe too. Come and join me over at How Does She Do It Life on both Facebook and Instagram. And until we speak again, I wish you a wonderful week ahead.